Hi everybody, welcome to our Intro Psych. This is the 8-week summer Intro Psych class. I'm sorry, I got some extra sun there behind me. Let's rotate a little bit. But good evening, I almost said good morning. But my name is Elisa Setmire. I am your instructor for our 8-week summer class. Can you let me know, someone let me know in the comments, can you hear me and see me okay? Hello. Right, let me know, give me like a yes or a thumbs up just to make sure everything is coming through clearly. That's so funny. Siri on my end told me hello. Okay, good. Yes, loud and clear. Perfect. Perfect. Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you all for letting me know. And thank you so much for all of you who are joining me on here live, or even if you're watching this later, that's totally fine. What I wanted to do is just take a few minutes and go through our Canvas site, see if you have any questions that I can help to answer, just to make sure all of you are feeling as good as you can about our course, because it definitely will go kind of quickly, and so I don't want any of you to be confused. So what I will do is kind of walk you through Canvas a little bit. I'll talk a little bit about the ebook, and if you have questions for me at any point, you can put them in the chat, and I will be monitoring that on my phone, and I would be happy to answer them. So please feel free to ask anything that you're confused about, and I can take a moment to show you on here, which is nice. And this is Twitch, so thank you for all of you who figured out the subscription piece of it. On my end, it makes it way easier to keep track of who is here. If you are subscribed, all I have to do is download a list of that. And it definitely minimizes the interruptions from ads, which absolutely drives me nuts. There usually will be one at the beginning, and then that's about it. And I don't know how many times I will do this over the semester, but I definitely wanted to take a good, like, solid 30 to 45 minutes tonight and kind of go through everything with you. And if you have to leave at any point, you can always watch the recording of this later. I will post it later on. But again, if you have questions at any point, feel free to ask. So what we'll do is, as I said, we're here on our site on Canvas. And if you make it to here, you should be in really good shape. From here, everything is either organized by week or it's linked out to the ebook site. Hopefully you find everything to be very clear and straightforward. I've been teaching online now for almost 15 years at this point. I really love teaching online because I'm very meticulously organized. And so I hope that comes through and that you find that to be nice as well. So what you will notice is if you make it to this homepage, there's a little description. There's a link to recent announcements, and then there's a link right here to the ebook site. And I'll show you the ebook site in a little while, and you can kind of get an idea of what is on there. So I'll show you that in a bit. Underneath that, what you'll see are there's all these little folders, if you will. So one that says start here, which is where you're going to want to start, and we'll go through that in a moment. Some contact information, help and campus resources, course documents and videos, and then what you'll see after that are just the weeks that we have for this course. And so everything that you need to do is organized under that week. And if you click on one of these, it will take you right to that week. So again, hopefully you find that to be very intuitive and clear. So the first thing that you'll want to do is click where it says start here on that mandatory orientation lecture. And so what I have here is I put together a little lecture on what to expect from the class, a little bit about myself, what are the things that you will need to do, how do you get help if you still need some help. Make sure that you read through the syllabus, which we'll look at in a moment, but you'll also want to read through this lecture. And so if we click on that, what you'll see is it has this 5-tab format. And you'll see this for all of the lectures that you'll do in this course. I made these little 5 tabs up here at the top, so make sure that you click through each one. And on each page, you can listen to it if you miss the sound of my voice, right? You can always listen to it, or you can just read through it. Either one is totally fine. The audio is just me reading what is on the page, so there's nothing extra in there other than the occasional sound of like my dogs barking or one of my cats meowing. But on the first page here, I have a little overview. These are the things that I want you to do in order to remain in the class. So what I'd like you to do is read and listen to the subsequent pages, read through the syllabus, complete the mandatory orientation quiz on the ebook site, which we'll talk about in a few minutes. Find me on Twitch and YouTube. I do use a lot of videos in this class. I make a lot of like Twitch live streams. I do a lot of YouTube videos and YouTube lectures. I'll post this on YouTube when we're done. I think it makes it really nice because you can watch it from anywhere at any time. And so it's really important that you find me on both of these platforms, and I gave you some information about how to do that. On the second page, I have a little bit about how this course is organized. So this class is an 8-week summer class. And so it's not as fast. I'm teaching a 4-week one right now as well. That one is very, very quick. We have 8 weeks together. So we will go all the way into the beginning of August. And so since we have 8 weeks, what I've done is I've given you access to 2 weeks of material at a time. Now, I know it's summer, a lot of us are traveling, myself included. I'm going on a cruise in a few weeks. I'm very excited for that. But I know a lot of you are traveling, so I wanted to give you some flexibility. So what I've done is you have access to 2 weeks of materials at any given point. And when we look at the syllabus together, you can see that, but weeks 1 and 2 will have a due date for everything. And you can approach them week by week or 2 weeks at a time. Again, I wanted to give you that flexibility. So each week you'll be responsible for doing basically the same thing. Very, very similar. That similarity and consistency will hopefully keep it clear for you. You'll have assigned readings from the textbook. So every week you will read 2 chapters from the required Psyched textbook. You'll read the lectures that go with it. You'll watch the lecture videos that go with it, which are me lecturing to PowerPoint slides. And I used to do those live, but I've recorded them so that I could caption them for those of you who might need captioning. You'll also do 2 discussions every week, and we'll look at these components a little bit more in a moment. Every 2 weeks, you will complete an exam about the 4 chapters that were covered during those 2 weeks. You'll do 2 self-assessments throughout our course, kind of reflecting on your progress and your effort and your grades, what you could do better, what you're doing well. And then you'll do a little closing assignment at the end. And again, the way these will all be organized is they're under their corresponding weeks. So as of today, we started week number 1, and you have access to weeks 1 and 2, and all the materials from weeks 1 and 2 are due by the 26th. So just make sure that you're always paying attention to the deadlines for all of the assignments. I am very strict about the final deadline for those 2 weeks. Because you had 2 weeks to work on it, there really isn't any reason that you shouldn't be able to get those things in. I do totally understand that the world is a little bit unpredictable, even still, right? It's getting better, but it's still a little unpredictable, and that things will come up. So I'll mention this in the syllabus portion later, but if you reach out to me before the deadline, I am willing to be flexible and work with you. But if you miss the deadline and you reach out to me the next day, it will be too late to turn those materials in. So just try and be really mindful of the deadlines for the class. Again, you have a lot of time and a lot of flexibility. Hopefully it's not too much that it gives you too much freedom, but I think it will be really helpful, especially for those of you who might be traveling at some point during the course. On the third page here, I have a little bit about myself. I am a huge football fan. I'm waiting for someone to boo me, but I've been a Tom Brady fan for like 22 years. I cried last year when he retired, and then he came back out of retirement, and I was absolutely ecstatic. So I've been a big Brady fan for years. So I was a Patriots fan, and I guess now I'm a Bucks fan. But I love football, cannot wait for football season. I'm obsessed with escape rooms. I just did my 94th escape room last week for my birthday. So very, very obsessed with escape rooms. 94 of them is, I think, a respectable number. Really wonderful opportunity to apply psychology principles and things about like critical thinking and brainstorming. I don't know if any of you like escape rooms, but they are my absolute favorite thing to do. I would do them constantly if I was able to. And I love the holidays. I love to camp. I put some shows in here that I love. I have a dog and 4 cats that might periodically make it into the live streams. I'm outside, so they won't bother me this time. But I wanted to give you a little bit of information about myself, just so that you would know the person who is teaching the course and get a little bit of an idea of who I am. Oh, thank you. Happy belated birthday. Thank you. You love escape rooms too. You've done so many. Yes, they are so much fun. My favorite one by far was one called Lab Rat, which was really, really hard, but really, really fun. And then there's a couple of scary ones. I could easily get sidetracked and talk about those for hours, or football for hours, or even food. So I will keep myself on track. But yes, I definitely love escape rooms. On this page, a little bit about the computer and internet settings. If you are struggling with things being blocked or images not showing up, you might take a look at this. Otherwise, your computer's probably set just fine. But if you're having any kind of pop-up blocker issues or issues with seeing stuff or audio files, you might take a look at this page. Right? You'll talk football with me for hours. Do you have a favorite football team? You have to let me know who your favorite team or player. I'm a huge, like I said, Brady, Mahomes, Gronkowski, and I love Cooper Cup. I gotta have at least one LA person. Thank you. Impressive on the escape rooms. Thank you. I've only failed 2, which I think is also fairly impressive. The last page here, really helpful for you if you still need help. Now, if you ever need help, feel free to email me. I am a real person. I check my email all the time. I try to be really good about getting back to you, within a few hours. Maybe it's a little worse on the weekends or in the evening, but I check my email a lot. But if you're struggling with things like something related to Canvas, I did give you the Canvas phone number. If you're having problems with the ebook, here's a phone number or an email that you can reach out to if you're having issues with the ebook at all, or web support for the ebook. You can always email me, as I mentioned, but I wanted to give you a couple of resources in case you might need them. Vegas Raiders, born in Oakland, nice. So we have lots of moves for the Raiders, but kind of fun that they're in Vegas for sure. I drove by that stadium a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, ooh, I might have to get myself out there at some point to see a game. It's not too far away. So make sure you read through all of this in a little bit more detail. I kind of skimmed through it. You're also going to want to read through the syllabus. So if you click on modules, it's right here at the very, very top. And I outlined everything. I'm not going to go through it in detail, but make sure that you do read through it. This is got all of my contact information, all of the expectations for the course, a description, our schedule. It has everything that you need to know. So make sure that you do look it over. And as a side note, as I mentioned, my name is Elisa Setmire. You're welcome to call me Elisa. You can call me Setmire. You can call me Professor Setmire. Dr. Setmire is a lie, but I will smile if you say it, so no worries there. But most people just call me Elisa or call me Setmire or Professor Setmire. As I said, there's objectives and all sorts of information. Make sure you look through all that. The first thing I really want to talk about more here is you do need a copy of the textbook for this class. And I know that textbooks are expensive. Ours is actually really, really reasonable. And the reason for that is because I wrote it and I had complete control over trying to keep it something that was affordable. So the textbook is only, I think, $82. And I know $82 is a lot, but the average psych textbook is closer to like $250, $275. So that's actually really reasonable. You will be using it constantly. And if you don't purchase the ebook, you won't be able to take the exams. Okay, so all of the exams are housed on the ebook site. So it will be really important, if you haven't gotten that already, make sure you get it right away, because you won't be able to complete that mandatory orientation requirement without the ebook. And I'll show you that information in a moment, where you can find it, how you can get it, and so on. You obviously need internet. You might consider downloading the Canvas app and the Twitch app, just because we'll be using a lot of them. Some codes of conduct stuff, and again, I'm kind of just highlighting a few things in here, so again, make sure you look it over. I'm really, as I mentioned earlier, I'm very strict about late work and exam makeup. So please, again, I will feel awful for you, but if you email me at 12:01 a.m. after the deadline is passed, it's too late. So just please try to be mindful of the deadlines, try to meet them. If an emergency comes up, if you email me at 11:58 p.m. and say, you know, I'm not feeling well, I have an emergency, I messed up, you know, I'm not even going to be harsh on what it is. I will be very willing to work with you as long as you email me before the deadline. So just be mindful of that as we go through. I really want to have a nice, comfortable, safe, inclusive learning environment. Make sure that we're always being respectful in our interactions with each other, in the discussions, and so on. Don't copy or cheat. You don't have to worry about smoking or these things here so much, since we're not in person. As far as your grade goes, there's a couple of things that you'll be graded on, and I laid all those out right here for you. The mandatory orientation quizzes were 10 points, and it's due by tomorrow night. at 11:59 p.m. And the reason that's so quick is because the add and drop deadline for this class is very fast since it's only 8 weeks. So make sure that you get your book and you'll take that quiz before tomorrow night. Otherwise, you will be dropped from the class. So please make sure that you get on that. Every week you'll do 2 discussions, and we'll go through those, and I'll tell you a little bit more about them, but these will be kind of like in substitution of an in-class discussion. You'll do 2 little self-assessments worth 5 points each, a closing assignment worth 25 points, and then you'll take 4 exams, each one worth 75 points. The exams, you'll always have a study guide. I will tell you exactly what you need to know and prepare. I will try to set you up for success as much as I can, but you would definitely want to study and prepare like you would for a normal test in order to be the most successful. I gave you the distribution of grades right here. Everything is just based on points, so you can see how many points you need for each score. If you have a confidential memo with access, make sure you email that to me as soon as possible, and I can get you all set up with your accommodations. There's some college information, tech support information, and then after that, it's just the schedule, right? So for weeks 1 and 2, you can see everything that is due and by when. Weeks 3 and 4, 5 and 6, and 7 and 8. So right now we are in our first little chunk, which is weeks 1 and 2. And so these are all the things that you need to do by 6/26 at 11:59 p.m. And you'll notice I will send you lots of emails and announcements and reminders, and hopefully everything will be very clear. But if you ever have questions, this is a good point of reference. You can come back here and look at, okay, these are all the things I need to do. You'll also notice that I have a weekly checklist at the end of like the second week of each of these to remind you of what you need to do as well. So make sure you kind of gloss through the rest of that. As I said, I have a little bit here about like COVID, things obviously being still a little bit off, even though they're starting to get a little bit more normal. But, you know, things are still affected, and there's a good chance some of you at some point might get sick or have other things going on. And again, just make sure you communicate with me if you feel like it's going to affect your ability to participate in some way. And I know I'm talking a lot, I'm sorry for that, but are there any questions so far at all? Let me just put this in here in the chat. Any questions or concerns? I'm going to go over things a little bit more, like where to get the ebook and all that kind of stuff. My Game of Thrones cup, right? love Game of Thrones. The prequel is coming out soon, right? I'm ready for that. Yes, so Canvas Student. Yep, that is the right one to get. And everything's very clear. Good. I'm glad to hear it. Again, I have taught this class many, many times, and I try and make it better every single time. So I'm glad it's clear so far. That's perfect. That's good to hear. If you have questions, feel free to put them in the chat. Okay? So I've sent out a few announcements to you at this point. Let me just click on Student View so it doesn't bring them all up. And the first announcement that I sent out to you was all about the mandatory orientation and textbooks. All of your pets are named after Game of Thrones characters. Oh, I love it. Mine are named randomly. Like we have a Binks because we got him near Halloween. So like Thackeray Binks from from Hocus Pocus. Squash because she's orange. Rolly because he's a big fat cat. And then Whiskey, my daughter named him. It was going to be Water Bottle, but I talked her out of it. So I like the Game of Thrones names. That's a lot of fun. All right, so if you click on this first announcement, if you haven't looked at it already, and make sure you're getting my announcements. If you haven't been getting my emails and announcements, you're going to want to go set your Canvas notifications so that you do get all of them. You don't want to be missing out on anything and be confused. But what you'll see here is it has the information for the book, and this is what it looks like. And here's the link where you can purchase it. So if you click on this link, it will take you to the publisher's page. And again, yeah, it's $82. I believe it's like an extra $20 at the Moore Park College bookstore. So not that I'm telling you not to get it there, but this is the cheapest place to get it. And again, I know books are expensive, and I'm sorry, it's just kind of a necessary evil. But you will need the book, and it's something that we will use constantly. So make sure you get your copy of the book. Once you purchase it, you'll have instant access. You need to register it, but there's some instructions here on how to do that. It's pretty intuitive, but if you're confused, I did make some instructions for you. And then once you have the ebook, you'll be able to go to the ebook page. And I have it bookmarked for you right here, but you might want to eventually bookmark it or save it on your own. But if you click on this, it'll take you to the Kendall Hunt Great River Learning Platform page, and this is where you'll log in and access the ebook. Right? You named your two kitties Luke and Leia. Oh, that's great. I love it. And then you can go Ray and Kylo, right, if we want to go for the next generation. So, okay, so if you want to log in, I've already saved my information here, but you'll log in, and then it's a little confusing at this point, and it always throws people off. But you click on this part right here where it says view this publication. And then our course number is 55502. So make sure that you sign up for the right section. See how there's all these options, and I'm sorry for that, I can't delete them. But you'll sign up for 55502, and then it will take you right to our course homepage, right? So this is what the ebook page looks like. And on this page, what you'll find is clicking things. You'll find the chapters in the book. You'll find some additional resources, the exams, and then a temporary gradebook. And I'll mention this again, but the exams, when you take them on here, the scores don't automatically go into Canvas. So I have to bring them over into Canvas after the deadline has passed. So there will be a spot on here where you can always find your scores, and then everything will be brought over onto Canvas after the 2 weeks have ended. So don't stress if you don't see it in Canvas. If you have a grade in here, then you're in good shape. So I made a little video right here if you want to watch it, if you want a little bit more information about this site if you're still confused. Otherwise, up here, if you click on chapters, this is where you'll find all the chapters in the book. And again, I did write the book, which took me a couple of years to do. And so I think you can hear a lot of my voice in it. But here are all the chapters. Make sure that as we're going through, you are reading these. You can skip around to different sections of them. They have images. All the things that are highlighted are key terms. There are I'm looking for them here. There's little charts and graphs. There's little apply it boxes throughout. I always have like an in pop culture section at the end, a link to a video that might be helpful that I created on YouTube, and then some application materials as well. So what you'll notice for each chapter is it kind of follows that similar format. So make sure for every chapter you are reading through this, in addition to doing the lectures and stuff on Canvas that I'll show you in a moment. This is also where you can find the exams. So if you click on exams right here, that mandatory orientation quiz is due by tomorrow night. So this is where you'll come to take it. And there's some instructions right here that you have 15 minutes to complete it. You only get one attempt, so make sure you're ready before you begin. Don't forget to save your answers. So let's open this together. This is nothing like tricky in terms of content. It's more just to make sure that you have read the syllabus, but you're participating in the class. So if you click begin your attempt, it will open up the exam. Okay, and you'll notice right here at the top, there's a little counter, and it will keep track of your time. When your time is up, it will stop you. So just make sure you're being aware of the time as it goes. And you can see there are 10 questions on this exam. So which of the following is not true about your instructor? Your instructor hates football, and you'll hit save. Okay, I definitely don't hate football. So you'll notice now it turns like a gold-orange color. That means that you've answered and saved it. The black means that you haven't done them yet. This class will be entirely online with no in-person meetings. True. Save, right? So now you can see I've done 2 of them. You can skip around. Let's say I'm like, oh, I don't know the answer. I'm going to skip ahead. Gray means you've skipped it. Black, again, you haven't done it yet. So just you'll go through and answer each one of these. And then when you're all done, right, the best way to contact me is through email. True. Save. Right? I've given you 3 free answers here. And then when you're all done, you'll hit submit. I'm finished, submit for a grade. And it will ask you, are you sure you're done? And we'll just say yes for now. And it will give you a score instantly. So you'll see right here that I got a shameful 3 out of 10. In all fairness, I only answered 3 questions, but it will give you a score. And remember that this score won't come over into Canvas, not until I bring it over manually when I am grading those materials. So make sure that you are taking all of the exams on here when we get closer to the first test next week, which you are welcome to take this week. Again, it's open for you. You'll notice that the other exams are down here. So here's the instructions for exams 1 through 4. When you're ready to take them, they will also be on here. So all of the exams are here on the ebook site, right under exams. And so you must, again, get your own copy of the book in order to be able to take those exams. So that is really your, your first order of business. Make sure you get the textbook, read through the mandatory orientation, and then once you've done both of those things, you've read through the syllabus, then you'll go on to the ebook site. Where did it go? Too many things up here. And you'll take that mandatory orientation quiz. What will happen tomorrow night is once the deadline passes, I'll go through anyone who hasn't taken it. I will email you just to double check. And then if I don't hear back from you, you will be dropped. And as a side note, I do still have about 10 spaces open. They made this class extra large at the last minute. So if you have any friends or family members who need a class, I can still add about 10 more people for the next like 2 or 3 days. So feel free to reach out or have somebody reach out if you know someone who is looking for another class. Just to put that out there, it's not very often that we have open spots. So again, after that, there's some information here. If you need to get a hold of me, I gave you my email. Email is always the best way to get a hold of me. Some help in campus resources, if you take a look at that. You'll just see, and again, I'm just checking to see if there are any questions. Do anyone have any questions or anything before I get into this? All right. If you have anything, again, feel free to put it in the chat. I'll keep going in the interest of time, but if you think of anything, put it in there. I put together some frequently asked questions. There's a little student lounge, which sounds way cooler than it might be. It's more just like a discussion place where if all of you want to talk to each other, you can, if you have questions or want to kind of support each other or connect with each other. Here's some information about how to find me on Twitch and YouTube. Again, if you have not done this, please make sure you do. It will make it easier to access my videos. And if we do more of these Twitch sessions, that way you'll get notifications and you won't have to deal with the ads and so on. Some technology help, some Canvas help, how to find your grades, which I'll go over a little bit with you after we have stuff that is graded. Some college services for students, psychology major stuff. And then we just get into the weeks. And remember, everything is organized by week. So as of right now, you have access to weeks 1 and 2. You'll notice that weeks 3 and 4 are kind of grayed out, and they will open up when we get to that point. And as I said, at the end of the second week, I gave you a little wrap-up checklist. So you can always see, these are all the things that I need to do. Have I done them all? Canvas has a little checkoff list on the homepage. And it's awful. You have to check them off yourself, which is a little sad. So just make sure that you're always completing everything under the 2 weeks that we're in, and you'll be in good shape. For each week, as I mentioned, you have 2 chapters. So what you'll want to do is you'll want to read chapter 1 in the ebook, and then you'll want to read through the lecture and watch the lecture video. So for every chapter, there's 3 elements. Read the chapter, watch the lecture video, and read through the lecture. Right, so those 3 things together will give you a really good kind of coverage of that topic. So once you've read the chapter in the ebook and then you look at the lectures follow that same 5-page format as the mandatory orientation one. The first page is always going to be objectives and summary. And again, you can listen to it if you miss the sound of my voice. The second page will be beyond the book. Anytime I put a video in here, you probably want to watch it. These things will appear on exams. They're meant to help you understand the materials. Some of them are things I created, and others are ones that, I found or I would show in person if we were meeting in person. The third page is going to be in pop culture. So what are some of the ways that this information shows up in popular culture? TV shows, movies, books. And as a side note, if you ever have a great example or a great clip, please feel free to email it to me. I would love to hear of it. You're way more connected to pop culture than I will ever be. So if you have a great example, please feel free to let me know. The fourth page is always going to be key terms. These are the terms that you will need to know for this chapter for the exam. So if you wanted to study a little bit as you went along, these are the terms from chapter 1 that you would want to make sure you know. And when we get to the first exam, what you'll see is there's a study guide, and all it is the terms that are on these pages all put in one spot. So if you wanted to study a little bit each chapter, these are the terms from chapter 1. And then the last page will always be application. Now that I've read all of this, how can I use it in some way? I'll sometimes have websites or links, things that might be a little bit helpful. So that's what the lecture looks like. And then you'll also want to watch the lecture video. And the lecture videos are me lecturing to PowerPoint slides. Sometimes I post them on YouTube if there's no outside videos, or it might just be a Zoom link. But these are going to be really helpful for you. I'm covering the materials like I would in person, and that will allow you to take notes and get that background and understand the content hopefully a little better. The other thing that you'll do each week is you will do 2 discussions. So every week there'll be 2, and they're going to be related to the chapters we're covering. So discussion 1 and 2 are on chapters 1 and 2. So for the discussions, what you'll do, I have some instructions. I always have a little video for you that you will probably want to watch just to get more information and background. But each discussion is worth 15 points, 13 points for your responses to my questions, and then 2 for your responses to a peer. So you're going to want to make sure that you're thinking of these like mini papers, answer them fully, show off your knowledge and comprehension of the materials, read through a minimum of 5 of your classmates' responses, and then respond to 1 of them. And so what you'll see, again, in the video, what I usually do is kind of go through the prompt, give you some more information and examples. I think that will be really helpful for you. And then here are the questions. Right? So here are the questions for this discussion. This one's all about the history and scope of psychology. So once you've read that chapter 1 and you've read the lecture and you've watched the video, then you can go ahead and complete this. And when you're ready, what you'll do is you'll hit reply, and that will allow you to type your response in the box right here. And it's not a bad idea to save your response. If for some reason it doesn't post or something doesn't go through, then you have it saved. You could always email it to me. You're also going to be replying to one of your classmates. And nobody's done it yet, which is fine. We just started today. But once people start replying to this, you will also reply to one of your peers. And this can be much shorter than your response to mine. But make sure that you're answering these fully. I did give you a little example right here. If you want to go look at that, you can see what I'm expecting. Again, I'm looking for very well thought out answers, like a paragraph for each question I give you. Think about them more like mini papers, and you'll be more successful. So when the 2 weeks are up, I will grade these. You'll get feedback. And if you ever have questions about your grade, you can, of course, always email me, and I'd be happy to give you more information. So again, that is kind of the general format, right? So for this week, we have 2 chapters and 2 discussions. And then week number 2, 2 chapters, 2 discussions. And then to finish up those 2 weeks, we have our first exam. So same format next week, chapter 3 and chapter 4, discussion 3 and 4. And then you'll see right here is exam number 1. And so if you click on this, it will remind you that the exam is on the ebook site, and it'll, here's a link if you need to go there. But the exams are, again, all on the ebook site. I've given you a study guide. So if you click on study guide number 1, it will tell you everything you need to know for exam number 1. So you'll need to know all of these terms from chapter 1, 2, 3, and 4. And this one also has 2 diagrams that I've given you below. If you study everything on here, you will be in wonderful shape. My exams, I think, are probably too easy. They're very straightforward and clear. As long as you've been reading and preparing and you study the study guide, you'll be in great shape. I will never trick you. If it's not on the study guide, it won't be on the exam. So just make sure that you've prepared and studied all of this, and you'll be in really good shape. The exams, you have 75 minutes. They're usually like 70-something questions. You have about a minute per question, mainly true, false, and multiple choice. Sometimes some matching questions as well. But make sure that you study. I've given you all the tools with the study guide, and if you go through it or even write it all out and have it in front of you, you'll be in really good shape. And then if you want to make sure you've done everything from weeks 1 and 2, again, here's that little wrap-up checklist. You can go through and be like, okay, did I read all 4 chapters, watch all the lectures, read the lectures, did I do the discussions, did I take the exam? You can kind of just check to make sure that you've gotten everything done. And we'll follow that same format all the way through. So when weeks 3 and 4 open up, what you'll see, again, 2 chapters, 2 discussions, 2 chapters, 2 discussions, and an exam. And then you also have a little self-assessment that might pop up every couple of weeks as well. So that's kind of the general format of the course. Again, 2 weeks at a time. So as of this morning, you have access to weeks 1 and 2, and all of those materials are due next Sunday, the 26th at 11:59 p.m. And so what I would really recommend is, it's up to you, you know your schedule best, but plan ahead. Better to get it done early than wait to the last minute. It always seems like as soon as you wait to the last minute, something happens, right? Like there's an emergency, the power goes out, the internet goes out, something comes up, you're not feeling well. So just, try and be on top of the materials. If you're at any point you ever are confused, to reach out to me. I am here. These sessions, if I do any more of them, I will always record them. So what you'll see is later tonight, I have another class after this, but later tonight I'll post the recording of this under week number 1. So that should be something that's really helpful for you to watch. Maybe you couldn't make the whole thing, or if you're watching this later, you found it, that's fantastic. Oh, good. I'm glad this was helpful. When we get closer to the first exam, if all of you are interested, I can always do another one of these, kind of a shorter one, going over some exam tips. I'll send out a message as we get closer into next week. For now, big thing, get the textbook. So go purchase your ebook, register it, get access to it, do the mandatory orientation quiz before tomorrow night. As I mentioned, if you know anyone who's still looking for a class, I do have like 10 more spots that are open, or 9 more spots, something like that. But so have them or you reach out to me. Otherwise, what I will do, as I said, I have another class here at 8, but if you have any questions, what I'll do is I'll hang out for a little while, and you can feel free to put them in the chat. I know I didn't go through everything, but I wanted to go through enough to hopefully set you up for success. And if at any point at all you have questions, please feel free to email me. Again, I am here. I'm happy to help, and it's going to be really important that you don't fall behind, since it is kind of a short class. Right, so that's okay, no worries if you're just joining. As I mentioned, Gabriella, I will be recording this, and there will be a recording posted later, so you can always go back and watch it. It wasn't mandatory to be here, but I appreciate those of you who joined me live. It's way more fun to have your company on here live, and it gives you an opportunity to interact with me if you do have any questions. So if you have any thoughts, questions, concerns, put them in the chat. If not, feel free to sign off and get going on the materials, and you are in good shape to get going. Email me with questions, get the book, get the orientation quiz done, and yeah, welcome to the course. As I said, it will go fast, and I'm here if you get confused or lost or have any kind of questions. And again, please be mindful of the deadlines. I will work with you as long as you reach out to me before the deadlines. Okay, it's nice to meet you all too. I know I can't see you, but it's nice to see your names and the your comments in the chat. Thank you. Good. I'm glad. I am very organized, so I'm glad that you feel that way on your end. Good. And again, remember, this is recorded, and I will post it later. And if you have questions still, there's lots of help resources. I have more videos and orientations and little like frequently asked questions. All of those things might be really helpful for you if you find that you are still confused. So make sure you check all that out. I'm going to minimize my video so I'm not just staring at myself here. But if you do have any questions, I will hang out for a few more minutes, and you can put them in the chat. Good, I'm glad you're excited for the class. I don't get to talk about football too much because it's kind of far away, but I am still monitoring all the football news, right? So you guys get you all get a little break from my football obsession. If you take a class with me in the fall, it's relentless. I'll just tell you that now. But nice to meet you all. I'm going to minimize this, though as I said, I will still be here for a few minutes if you have any questions. It is coming up. I heard today 141 days to Halloween. Not that I'm counting or anything, but TikTok told me today that it was 141 days, and I love Halloween, so bring it on. I'm ready. Thank you, Haley. You have a good evening as well. Good. Yeah, I love Halloween. All the candy, and we get football, and like, oh, I love all the Halloween colors, and we always go way overboard decorating. So much fun. Of course. You're welcome. You're welcome. And again, I'm still here. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. I am still here and happy to answer anything if you are confused about anything at all with the class. Otherwise, read through everything and hopefully it's all really clear and you'll be in good shape. All right, everyone. All right, so it looks like the vast majority of you are gone. There's just a couple of people hanging out in here. If you think of any other questions, please feel free to email me. Otherwise, I'm going to close this up. I do have another class coming up, so don't get confused if you see me live on Twitch again. It is a different Intro Psych class. But thank you again for those of you who joined me, and I will hope to see you for another one of these in the near future.